You've built real experience, you've led teams, you've handled pressure and delivered results. But when it comes to interviews, especially for more senior or strategic roles, how do you communicate that experience clearly? How do you structure your answers so that they're sharp, engaging, and relevant without rambling or sounding overly rehearsed? That is exactly what we're going to cover in today's video. I'll show you how to use the STAR technique to answer behavioral interview questions in a way that's clear, confident, and compelling. We're going to walk through each part of the STAR framework, explain what to include, and then I'll give you a full example to help bring it all to life. And stick around because there's also a simple fifth step that many professionals miss, and it might be the thing that sets your answer apart. Let's get into it. So first, what exactly is a behavioral interview? Well, these are questions that start with things like, tell me about a time when, or can you give me an example of? They're not asking what you would do, they're asking what you have done. The goal is to understand how you've handled real situations so the interviewer can predict how you're likely to behave in this role. They want to know, how do you solve problems? How do you work with others? How would you adapt to change? And how would you respond when things don't go to plan? So how do you structure your answer when somebody says, tell me about a time when you had to deal with conflict, or give me an example of when you missed a deadline and how you dealt with it? It's one of the most reliable ways to answer behavioral interview questions because it keeps your response focused while still letting your experience shine through. Think of it like telling a short professional story with a clear beginning, a middle, and an ending. Let me break it down for you. First, with the situation. This is your backdrop. You want to briefly describe when and where this happened and what was going on. Think about what was the environment, who were the key players, what triggered the moment that you're about to describe. Now, this also isn't the time to tell your life story. This should be no more than a few sentences, but it needs to give the interviewer just enough to understand the setting so that your actions make sense. Then comes the task, and this is a really important distinction because people often blur this with the situation. Here's the question you're answering. What was your responsibility in that moment? What were you specifically trying to achieve? It's not about what the team had to do, it's about what your role was and what you were accountable for. So if the situation was a tight deadline, the task might be to lead delivery. If it was a client escalation, the task might be to rebuild trust and protect the relationship. By clearly defining the task, you're showing the interviewer what success looked like in that moment and what was at stake. Next is action, and this is where you should spend most of your time. You've set the scene, you've defined your role. Now, what did you actually do? Walk them through your decision making. What steps did you take? Who did you involve? Did you change courses at any point? This is where you show how you think, how you collaborate, and importantly, how you lead. And here's something I'd encourage you to always include in this section. Talk about at least one challenge because almost nothing ever goes perfectly. And when you show how you dealt with something unexpected or how you adapted when a problem came along, that's when the interviewer gets to see how you'd operate in the real world. So don't just list tasks, share turning points. And finally, the result. This is the payoff. What happened as a result of your actions? Was the issue resolved? Did the project land on time? Did something improve? This is your chance to show the impact of your work and ideally try to quantify it, even roughly. Numbers, outcomes, client feedback, process improvements, anything that gives the results more weight. Even if it didn't go exactly to plan, the key is to show that you made improvement or made a difference. So let's say the interviewer asks you this, tell me about a time when you had to deliver a project on a tight deadline. Here is what a strong STAR answer might sound like. Last year, I was leading a project team at a mid-sized consultancy. One of our long-standing clients came to us with an urgent request, a new software integration that had to be delivered in just 3 weeks. Normally, that sort of project would take us at least 6. So my role was to scope the work, coordinate the team, and make sure we delivered on time without compromising on quality. The first challenge was resourcing. Half of my team was already allocated to another job. So I broke the work down into smaller sprints, reprioritized internally, and also brought in a contractor I'd worked with previously to help fill the gap. I also set up daily stand-ups to keep the team aligned and identified early where we might hit roadblocks. And partway through we actually did. An API we needed wasn't accessible on the client's end, so I escalated it quickly and worked with their IT team, and we adjusted our scope so that we could keep things progressing while we resolved that issue. In the end, we delivered on time. The client said it was the smoothest rollout they'd experienced that year, and actually 2 weeks later they extended our contract for another 18 months. So that's STAR. You give the context, clarify your responsibility, talk through the actions and what you did, show what changed because of it. It's simple, it's incredibly effective when done right. Now, here's the part that most people leave out, but it can be incredibly powerful. After you've explained what happened, take a moment to reflect. What did you learn? How did that experience shape how you work today, who you are as a leader? Here's how you might wrap up that answer. That project really reinforced the importance of proactive resourcing and fast decision making. And since then, I've actually built an early risk system into every fast turnaround project that I lead, and it's helped me prevent issues before they even come up and deliver with even more confidence. This kind of reflection shows maturity. It shows that you don't just execute, you evolve. And that is exactly what employers want to see. So to recap, start with the situation, set the scene, then the task, what you are actually responsible for, follow it through with your actions, and make sure to include at least one challenge that you faced. Share the result, being the impact that you delivered, and finally, add what you learned. Show your insight and your growth. If this helped clarify how to structure your interview answers, give this video a like. It really helps others find the channel too. And if you'd like more practical career content on interviewing, on leadership, on career strategy, then subscribe for more weekly videos. And let me know in the comments, what's one behavioral interview question you always get asked, but are still not quite sure how to answer. Thanks for watching and good luck in your next interview. You've got this.